time and music just numbers manifesting in time. I don't know make an ya fa say meka maka bibi a word na maka and as me make it sound, right? But meka me make it two sounds. Meka Now I've said the word a number of times within a time. To my repeating within a time, that is music. And so repeating something within a time gives it an identifiable what rhythm. So that rhythm, and you identify as what? As music. Mm-hmm. So music, simply put, is the study of numbers in time. It is like music there. Now, make I say, obo ade ni sode hunu a ana se den obo ade nim de bia den ewo emmere mu enim pendodo a ade bia den eka ade bi hia ana se ani bi ana se den sound bia den eba wo den ewo mmerem na make ati ase. So once we go in there, then we need to understand say music is an aspect of the universe which works on the principles of repetition. Yes, the law of repetition. So music, simply put, is just a conscious application of the laws of repetition by man or by the universe itself. Thank you.
No, also thank you. Say you can't say now one said who are the musicians? What you say? And now sounds no frequency no and yet sounds now in so no deba and also so say and from a deba ye the gina frequency was spirituality. No, how do we go about it? And how do we put that one? How do you explain that one?
Thank you. So sound in spirituality. Any sudden, any biara ana sudden in pupuye biara ewo mmiri biara mu any sunsanso a edeba nipa so ana sede ba adwen no so ana sede ba sunsum so. So nipa adwen na sunsum so. In pupuye biara ne mpendo do e den epopo mmiri biara mu any den hu sunsanso e de ba. All I mean is the number of times something vibrates within nature or time. The number of repetitions within time any sunsanso e de den e de bre nipa ade bia wo honam adwen any sunsum so. Na yaka sound anase yaka ene ana sound of spirituality mo a any ade biara eboa ma heighten the mind of the individual or the spiritual students, heighten the spiritual aspect of the spiritual students. Ebini say ebi ameka masem say bibia ye fa fi adwen ni mu ye fa de say abofra asu den na ma abofra no su ni yesu ayesu ni keke ana se esu no ewo nia eye wo adwen ni mu on sa abofra asu a esu so be ye no wejai ena so osia so asu no osu no bebre na esi at the same time esu no osu no ewo birimu esu no osu no ewo ne pitch ana se ewo ne pitch on the frequency. Na sa pitch no have a what e ko adwen ni mu a ye wo ko asu ni mu a ye wo bibi e fan anvil steps e wo adwen mu a ye den e ka bom e na e den e what e magnify sound e ko adwen multi na sa sound na e bo no e sound that e very suitable to yourself and as a sound that nipa person oti ana bo sa bufresu enye su a wan kasa kra oti a o ye den o hoto e say it induces a sense of emotions within you which is harmonious to what you may want to see or have. And to say even in more spiritual people no and mostly spiritually inclined people no in pen people so mo taati o mo hu fi abusua ho o mo taati o mo hu fi o mo yere no mo mba ho
o mo mpe de debi
enye say o mo yere mo mba ho ye o mahi nemo all those contradictory sounds no then it is stabilizing the state of mind, it is stabilizing the state of concentration, it is stabilizing the state of thoughts. The same way it is stabilizing the state what the state spiritually. Why is it that most of the times when we are trying to deal with spirits or you hear about spirit dealership, any young can say or say or call dan obi anim and also call empuano and also call biposo and now call paxo and now kwesiye. Why do you always find those places to actually what contact spirits? It's not only certain aspects, but you say within such environments, no, an environment near then a when you tear sabatias nentia, one munim soon, when I saw me soon munim dear for no one time to Nakuru. Tiana now better so no bishop wudem, no aquatin kuro, and macrone nya day, abatuno. Honor shano, when you're soon or living within nature. The very frequency of mind, the very frequency of sound over here for him to be able to operate in a sound mind or within that environment. Basically, I was half funny be ho. Uko hu na beka na hwe ne hu fi bi na me ameda kem, I don't know that kem so betuma boa me a. The point is, near order any priority, and your priority. Or priority is obey Juma Pesika, only priority is obey, grow spiritually. That is why he needs that environment for him or her to grow. The same way, so now one time being bound to say mistakes view more chrome to say any money and counter. But say, only the year to die by cum, and as of fear cry or die on quiet day, a womb. On time ben in Banum, and as on time bebusia or better ben I didn't hear because he needs to have that state of mind to be able to operate. So when it comes to sound in spirituality, one thing we need to understand is that you can't speak about music without discussing sound. Because sound and its repetition, music, and I say identify music, which is rhythm. Which of the sounds are more harmonious to the individual being? Your sound be harmonious, or sound be so harmonious. But one thing you need to know is that each and every sound that we listen to, we are tuned our frequency to that very sound. What be sounds? I don't know to me who advert. On shadan kasa what na see advert no. In Jumbo shadan kasa what na see be uma utie uma fe almost outing na what start here then air to. How did the mind attune to that sound to be able to memorize and everything and be able to go by that rhythm? So when you talk na almost a rhythm na do anu here then FM keynote tan 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 because who knew lyrics but what my then who the rhythm I ban saying because the mind itself is programmable and whatever the mind is exposed to over time the mind tends to mold itself to fit and suit that vibrational frequency. Into what vibrational frequency? Maybe a vibrational frequency. Akonya on the vibrational frequency. Everything around you on the vibrational frequency. Which brings us to what numerology stands for. And why numerological vibrations exist. Because in the frequency of all things, no, that is how those who have delved deeper into mysticism were able to identify certain frequencies that are more aligned with certain people and certain beings within nature and not with others. Who said the way and the better want to say, okay, then this life is not so much of what we say it is. And we can say, say sound be any sound mudi about saying, then our sound, and I said, then our music mu, to me, then our music mu, but ultimately you mean also. She need your man out to meeting you mean also. Ultimately you mean also. Because say any and some that one Jumuni and the man ya with a war. Ujidi, in Jumia ya with a war. And you be more videography money we mono. More person more can asana emotional more specific sounds are more there than what to say. Some orchestra neko why do you put that sound over there? Unconscious to the individual, subconsciously it is influencing you, inducing that state of what? Of pain, of sadness, of sorrow, of attachment, of love, of affection. Within you are the ocean. To wana uti na eden. When ya atinke bi ide amanipa no. Na ya odi bi ide abaomu. Na rehu bi ide abaomu so that you become aligned with that very individual person. That's that very intention. Any message na eden eba no. Na nya bi ase ye ko wo hu asem. Na be de shatawale kai ashema anya bi awoti a ore be ho.
Nwanwa.
So sound music has its own has its own mind, if you are going to put it well, has its own mind, and that mind is carried by itself. And when that mind meets any other mind, it has it has an operative influence upon that mind to bring into effect what that mind being sent as a sound is. So you can actually have your mind, your thoughts, and then on your thoughts, create that thought into the sound. So that sound will affect the other mind to be able to realize that very mind you are trying to project. Intimate as any sound will be beautiful. Yes, we have sounds that can really get you agitated. You can actually ask about. But horn. There's one music genre called rock music, metal music. Very, very irritating. When Uko shows now, who are more that shows now? One would you know, be I high. No, free, no, tone inside. No, yes, sir. No, yes, sir. Maybe yes, your friend rave. And you be jumping, dancing. Why do you think at that point in time? And you be aiming for Adele music, and aiming for Efia music in base you. Near was slow notes, no. Near so bit me so be anka. So music is a message of itself, which is what? Which is a command to the mind to operate in a certain frequency on a certain way. Synonymous with the very thoughts of the projector that projected the sound.
You are watching the biggest and the largest. Ebusuya, sounds and frequency asemi angels in the spirit in the eke kan ho asemi. Eno ne yatwe ne sere ne abasa so ende de bebi area beduni. Enti say no Lord Ackkham no angels no. What eden no mo ne yen nipa ewo in common. Ye ne omo ho ana ne ho ye den. Na ye ka spirit ansunsu ne wo angels ne spirit so ntamu no eye den. Na hwan ne ye betumi akasa asomasi ye musician.
Okay. You can't angels and spirits. I would say angels are spirits. If you have to go by the common understanding, angels are all spirits. But all spirit angels, because once we bring in angels, there's some hierarchy behind about the classification of spirits. But let's go to the origin or the source of angels. Osha Angela, this angelic system, it stems more from the Kabbalah. And then the names you see, most of this modern world and our idea of angels, the Kabbalah. The Hindus will say demigods, but even with demigods, they still have certain further classifications. Now, over the hierarchy of the angels, and as over the Kabbalistic system, and I say, near give you birth to Judaism, Christianity, Islam. And they who him died and abaya and some year. Over sa nyamana. Adeba be hunye. It gives what? It gives 10 hierarchies of God, but 13 in all. What do I mean? It gives 10 hierarchies of God, but 13 in all. The 10 hierarchies are the Ein, the Ein Sof, the Ein Sof O, which is the degree of 0, the degree of 00, the degree of 00 or 000, the Ein Sof O. Then it comes to Keta, Shokma, Bina, Gedula, Gebura, Tiferet, Nezak, Hod, Yesod, Malkut. Now, when you take all these degrees, you realize about the realm of Nezak, which is the realm of what? Of the sons of God. Or the archangels, realize it speaks about the co-creators of God. Now, when you come further to the 9th degree, you realize there you find the angels over there. Before the angels, you find the saints and the soul of the pious ones. So from Nezak, Chokma, Bina, Gedula, Gerura, Nezak, Hod, Yesod. So Nezak, Hod, Yesod, and the Malkut. So from Nezak, which is the realm of the archangels, or what we will say the demigods, you then come further to the soul of the pious ones or the saints. Then the angels. Then the soul of what? The lower ones or the dead people and then the demons. From there you come to the clipots, which are the opposing end of what? Of the 10 hierarchies of God's what? And his spirits. Now when you take all these degrees now, one thing you shall realize, they say, the angels we speak of, more often than not, or plainly speaking, just all the spirits you know of. Meaning, angel can actually be any spirit that you know of. Because, what do I mean? Oba meka se mo na saba mama mere mo a. Bia yeni Michael. Yeni Michael wa ha. Yeni the Michael wa ha ba yeni Adade. Adade is the god of war. Yeni Michael wa ha. Yeni bia Tigari, which is also an executioner spirit. Yeni Michael wa ha ba yeni Malafia. These spirits to us. Sanke ebe call the system the angel and as you refer to the angels so man. Sankofu and kebeka some demons. Why am I going to make that clarification? Because with the system of angels nearby, am I saying who say then these spirits are angels and these spirits are demons? Or these spirits belong to these angels have this nature? No. And also study the history of the Israelites, which we have that system, or we have a Theogonia, which is a whole system of world religions that we study in my society. When you go deeper into it, you realize what we call demons were simply put those spirits which belong to the enemies of Israel. So when the Israelites set up their system or their cosmology and their cosmogony, they demonize all the gods of their neighboring states who were enemies to them. And among them create them as pure what? Entities. So even now from that very point, you can even the classification of angels being some good entities, it is flawed. Because it is more of spiritual politics. Yes. In culture to your politics. It is more of cultural politics. So let's break down the angels and let's see, what are the angels? Angels are all spirits that are messengers of any given spiritual system. So the accounts also have their own spiritual system with spirits that are also running errands for a body. And so in our system, they will qualify to be angels. When you go into Hinduism, Brahma is manifested what three unity as what? As Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh or Shiva. When you get the manifestation of these entities, you realize that within them we also have demigods. The demigods are also what? Co-creators and what? And co-partakers of God. So within that system, the demigods are like operating like how we will see them to be as what? As archangels and angels and other entities. So every cultural or every spiritual cultural system, almost somewhat the same system of messengers running errands for the well-being of God. And that God can either be Onyankopon, Olodumare, Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, Buddha, can be anything, any spiritual system that you know of, Mau. Once you go into all those systems, you realize that angels manifest in all those systems, and not just the Christian or the Christine or the Judaic system. No.
Right now, no. Ghana, obi also say, so Ghana now Bosuma, now now we say, your friend say, angel, you want tabine, and I know you're white. Me who tell me to be a black. And I'm so how do you classify all these people?
Thank you. Thank you. The description of spirits are also dependent on time, place, circumstance, culture. Let's take the Indians. When you see every god of the Indians, is it dressed in the way of the Indians? Thank you. When you say that of every culture depicts their images of their gods and their entities, reflecting themselves and their culture. That is why the problem of the white Jesus is now a problem when people woke up to it. Why? Because the gods themselves can assume any form. Can I boldly tell you that the god we call over here is Zagaja? You know Zagaja, the one found in Nogopo? We said Nogopo is the name of the town, you are from there. Nogopo is just the name of the town or the village. The true deity is what? Zagaja, where the female counterpart being Mama Avlekete or Mama Avleketi. What you need to understand is that within all of these systems, we all have ways of representing our deities. So for the Judaic or for the Kabbalistic or for the Masoretic system to the Kabbalistic system, to give a description of angels having wings, that doesn't mean that is the way spirits are meant to be. We are the one who actually pictographically depict them in that way, depending on the qualities we assign to them. Let me give an example. Spirits are Oshe in food here, so spirit no say you're depicting and you're creating image. Also because or you'll be all the fool. So all the qualities of farming, you see them near their man. Entity be one tabaya or two. It is we projecting that into it. So and they are not there. Wherever thought goes, energy flows. Now we are going to come into that very aspect in there. I'm going to give you, I said, talk with Zagaja that we know over here as the tender God. On one anymore can focus him as Ototrobonsu. Whenever you call Ototrobonsu, I can Christopher Fanny go to Ototrobonsu say, Yankupo Bos, your boy, we are Ototrobonsu. It's actually an African deity, the God of thunder and rain. Yes. When we go further into it, the same God of thunder. When you go into India, the same God is known as what? The God Indra, the manager of the heavens. Spirit bakuna Odu Odu. Let's take Lord Shiva. An aspect of Lord Shiva is what? Bhairav. Bhairav is the what? Is the deity of Shiva who walks with a dog and lives by the graveside. That aspect of Shiva, onchi menstrual blood, onchi obawaye bra, onchi she, ontiboja, orinam, oibibia, even orini pefunu. That same deity, only saw in the aspect be what? I manifest your aspect, your hanu baby. Your friend Tigari. So what we call Tigari is what the Indians call Bhairav. It's an aspect of Lord Shiva. So the God you see in your religion, if you understand the practice very well, you realize. Are you saying Tigari is Bhairav? Yes. Are you sure? Yes, Tigari is Bhairav. Yes. So one thing you need to understand is spirit no share wahano. Wa pama on the way then esi so or there then mode build any monchre say no monchre. Based on your culture. On your culture, oba ha no my on church there the man no. Let's take it to be Tigari wa ha ye cook na my man. Oba ya bra onchi. You try moja bibia mano. Uko India the same thing. But that aspect of Shiva no energy sa de no. The same Shiva na no ne hu fa bi no so ye den enji moja. So one deity e amamre any apama ojina so de moja. E de wo amamre any apama o ye den on fa enji moja. Inti okok we fu kroma a paman on the yoko scene so and near yet no and on the other odeje. Oba Hadama, near the tin or the other odeje. That doesn't mean that spirit is limited. No, it is the culture that is defining how our contract and our connection to the spirit is built.
You are watching the biggest, so I need a Matthias and Fufu. And you say, you think or Naman or Renam. Hey, into honest or didn't perfume. What yes, yeah.
What you need to understand is say, let me give you an example, practical example. Mami Grace, yeah, you sure how any mood, and say, we are spiritual, make and say, you are spiritual journalist, right? Journalist on spirituality. Ombanu ni as a mother, Ukunu ni as a wife, or members ni as a boss, as a spiritual leader or a prophetess or reverend, workers ni as a boss. Does that change who you are?
No.
But why do they call you all those things? Because of the functions you play in their lives when you get there, right? The same thing with spirits. So when the spirit is here, operating as a boss, it has a name and a way it operates. The same way, send your relationship and employees, the same relationship and Babenya. Dabi, the same relationship and Kunubenya. Dabi, why then do you separate yourself or do you separate how you relate with people based on time, place, circumstance? But it's the same you. So the same spirit. What the spirit is meant to do at the point in time, the people it is meant to what?
Baby, or will be any or ye
baby, or be any jumedi any baby, or any son of bed or bed, where they edina. It is often if Fabinaka say, way a greater than Yakanina. So when you'll be out those who what you do soon soon in my where they or the other over 2 whom be with the epic. Because woman now wouldn't say minimum now, no one sounds so yellow, baby, no, or not to you.
And to say all these entities in your lifestyle, ye be more really perfume in Caramine, be so Ricky Barbane, it be so no man woman. Is your money now, money nipper, many women, why may ye superior over an uncle?
Superiority, I don't think, is a matter of species. Superiority is a matter. Do we even have superiority in spiritual path? No, it is more of qualification and evolution. And realization. You can be a human being, but until you realize yourself and then you grow spiritually, how then do you tell yourself you are better than the spirit?
The awareness.
So it is your awareness. So spirituality. So there's one statement I always say. Thoughts is the only thing, spirits and mind is the only thing human beings and spirits have in common. And the only differences between spirits or the only differences between men are the way they think. And the differences between men and spirits are still the way what we think. So it is not a matter of who is superior and who is less. It is a matter of who is highly realized or who has realized more of God within himself.
Your awareness determines your strength or your ability.
Your degree on the spiritual path and not your species. Yes.
Okay. You are watching the biggest. Mobile keep questions in our band because of our time. You know, into no more questions and then start to say drop both Facebook and YouTube now. More questions, you know. Embra because now and then I say I late kakra until Lord Ackkham right now no do we actually have to submit to anything like do we have to what do we call it so being soon bibi ana
I always say oh so many what dem Christo Bega say me sum no sunsun mu ene no kware mu then the question will be sunsun ben kwan ben so wo sunsun mu no kware ben kwan so na wonim. The same thing I'll tell everybody. How do we go in with spirits? Because I always say, if say whom would riemu, now whom will riem, now whom was ramu, now say whom were at the sayemu any day, any other chinyemua, then is it a matter of worship? Because even without worshiping, we are still under the influence of one another. What do I mean by that? A sumuba within our own physiology as a human being or within our own biology, assume induces something we call melatonin within the glabella, which actually induces you to sleep. The same thing we consciously induce within ourselves when meditating, so that we can be able to visualize and project. So even without you worshiping anything, those things are already having influence upon you. So if there is a spirit in the tree, and that tree is giving you oxygen to live, and there's a spirit in the sun that is providing you with vitamin D to survive, and there's a spirit in the darkness, which is already giving you providing you melanin to be able to sustain yourself. There's a spirit in the moon, which is also inducing brain fluid rise and fall, and also impacting the earth surface. Then what do you mean by say worship will be an worship? Even without knowing what to worship, we're already under the influence of these things. So is it a matter of worshiping them or they worshiping you? No, it is not a matter of worshiping them or they worshiping you. It is a matter of knowing who they are and how you can consciously operate within them. Because without you or you knowing them or not, they are still operating as they must operate.
So we don't actually need to go and your best one and you are an African. You are, in fact, you are Ghanaian. Ghanaian kwa na spirituality no. Obaka trust says one fa we amba ubabewu. So you and I know. We know ubabewu we bewu and a fa hin because you ti han to be. Then I bet you for my obi nam and on my so be aware and on my own to be need to pick that and then be so be.
That is it. So that is where the issue comes in. When it comes to, you see, there's one thing with evolutionary utility and then submissive utility. When I come to that, I mean in Spiritism. Evolutionary utility is when Sister Mami Grace, ebi awarise, me fa baby na de imagine onu kunu so.
Man worry.
For example, how was your husband able to get to you? Because he was able to get himself to a level where he was able to meet and match your inner qualities and the things you're looking for. So, do you now demand him or do you now live and coexist with him? You coexist with him. You don't demand him. The same thing with spirits. So when I speak about evolutionary utility, that is when we grow to a level where you now have them on that level where you cannot have that conversation, that communion, that realization, that environment. Other than say, you go below and then try to command and compel. So there's one thing with being qualified for something, and there's one thing with begging for something you don't qualify.
Matthias,
thank you.
Matthias, say wa wo be won I te say second kita wo wa hu say nanim na edi twa ade hu fa nkotwa wo ho but say no wo Ghana ha looking at everything how spirituality has become won hwe TV kura social media de wo da won paso kura na ni hwe ya wa wo biye kura no abeba wo ho looking at everything that is going on when it comes to spirituality. How do you feel? Be honest. Do you think we should, sometimes I feel we should quench everything spirituality ni asomunye because I yet to say just say any problems are eno de na just say hu hwe da anye ehia biasa. How do you see when you see everything going on with spirituality on social media? Be honest. How do you feel?
I don't feel okay because spirituality is not the way it is being portrayed. I think what they are portraying is Spiritism. And Spiritism is more about pacts. Pacts, fulfillment, and then being punished for breaking the pact. That is what Spiritism is about. Spirit never ho, mihia bibi, kofi, baso yedma we mame. Okay, meya mawa, ebi ya mejo, edwa mienu, tumpa mienu, se mienu. Okay, mate, meye, makwa na kofi akwa adwuma no. Okoye we baya. That is when it comes, even physically. What do you think will happen? That is why Spiritism is a field where me personally, I teach me Spiritism because it is a field where it is more of give and take. But human beings, 99% of us are careless. We can't hold on to covenants. We can't hold on to our vows. We can't hold on to oath. We break rules anyhow, and you're trying to actually have a pact with a spirit that has existed 2,000 years before you, 10,000 years before your birth.
It doesn't know it is enough.
I say, so now you go into something thinking you can actually get something. That is why I don't buy into that. So most of this, it is basically because one ventured into something which was more of what? Of a buy and give, which on that principle, no. So obano dan oka nyame na beka chem se menye bibi ma.
Uno akọ enta into.
Uno akọ ye, uni ma de no na akọ so no nyema. So aja ma de a, that is what we say. There me cite example we say. Honhom won, say na honhom tie, ye say wo fa mo na, baby abefa mo na ho na ye gya no. Anya sa na ye akankasem. Ade ba kwa onie. Se nipa wabra bonie, wabo abarabara du pempensu we. Na afra honhom ba. Na honhom bra, this is makofo wakobo obi pa mmeboa. Na honhom boa obedu ha no ma. Fa show tim say if you ha ebedu ha nyina no enye wo de honhom na de ye den e de ma o inte da honhom ne bubefu wo befom ibeto chima
wo ba gbra
obefi wo no ye den wo ba ha
meanwhile na ha na wa bedu no nka you could have
basa ha na bedu hu sadu ho de na ye den epeja ye
nti nka beko
anka wo beko So when you actually perform things with your strength and with your all the laws of nature, now all the brana, udi be and what be any day, that is why it is said, in all mystical and occult circles, that is why it is advised, say, do with your strength until your strength can hold no more. That is the only time you call on God. That's always make the statement. A spirit will never do for you what you must do for yourself.
This one, the amunya ni quote mami pa. Amunya ni quote mami.
A spirit will never do for you.
Oh, 1 million Ghana da. Wa quote spirit or quote $1 million. Are you not going to die? Can you even handle it?
You haven't managed even 10,000 in your life before. You see, so that is why a lot of these things happen. Now, okojiwie na fechia semba na fe do no hu ni say honhom na ehom mone. Masam ne say anyebe honhom de ka ne bra no jeye. Ode afie ne bra wo jeye. O se fa woto ba ko bra wo dwan. Hu ye e na ye bone. Unya sika na ode 5 amba no hu ye. O to ton sa no na ye bone. Na ade na fe de wanye ni yin awi akwa ka cho say family bra me adweno say honhom bone. Na ye be no de ma na e bone ma. Ade won po.
The thing is that the people who are also leading people into spirituality, omu nyina na omu nim ni omu ye no nti wahu ade tu na wa ha nipa tu back they are also or a spiritual person ma menka ne sasa na omu taika are also lead obi into spirituality onu anka se nipa no onim se onim a de okodi na chi ni sunsun so be na be ba ne so. Do you get it? The innocent people,
ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Oh, and
that is the point, because whatever it is, you are living under the umbrella of your parents. That's why you still bear your parents' name. The same thing with when you have a spiritual leader. Whatever the spiritual leader does, it is shared for all. The same thing, whatever the followers do, it is also shared. Or it is all what? Gathered for what? For the well-being, or for gathered for what? For the harvest of the leader. That is why Christians will say, Uji Yesu Christo dia, meaning the intervention spirit of Jesus is there, but until you sign under the what? The umbrella of Jesus. That is when the karma of Jesus covers you. Let's take the story of Solomon. Yes, Solomon bompaya. Ni hu nyina fifire, di nsiogu ni hu bompaya, kikam ahwe anya den amba. Ne mo kan say, "Ye God, remember the vow you had, remember the covenant you made with my fathers." Meaning, once he invoked that covenant, he is not under the umbrella of the well-being and the karma of his ancestors. Same thing that you be see gwaswa. If na nanu nyina na de na de so that he carries on the karma of them.
Ni part no ho ase on pe obi na achro. Vincent Williams. So ni part no ho ase on pe o. Crawford yo mo ho akọ hihye nia memo maso ayese. Nti abosom no mo ni sa ma sha obose mema na ntwe ba ko na se year bi aso na ntwe ni mentumi anta. Wuzu uni abotre kra.
What you need to understand is that the spirits are also there for a purpose, because without Sanka, if there's no purpose for them, I don't think they should be existing by now.
Media me dani say waka kire me say one fa wo ho ankobo bibi a obetumi aye. Nti na me say meye bibi anka medani okot. Because they speak sense. Or say ya akopim say wa ho oden asa. Na nkrofo no so ahonhom ne bi wo ha wa obeye wade akodu level bi omo ebehu se wa bo modern na omo ade bi afe wo so.
And that's how it works.
I don't know make kire wo no.
When you do it and do it well, they come to your rescue and help. And that's nature. You see, sometimes we think say only time only honhom na holy time honhom so de ben and so honhom so de bua e ye bere a okoto yanim na bo mpai sa be ne pe ene bere a honhom ye den be bua. Why you don't even know they say so na pakwa ka kire ho say me kwa ya adwuma kwa no a prayer to the universe, and the universe will make what will make all things possible for you to get your job. Nti na do now be a store na manfo abeto ade.
Exactly.
Nti ko duro crampo no be a store atofo nya den emba. So what you need to know is say you don't need to actually be in a special room for you to know say spirits are with you. Wherever you are, spirits are with you. There are spirits who you do not need to what your home be. You don't need to actually call them to your service. They are there naturally. Once you employ the laws of nature as it must be employed, they are there to also come in and serve. That is how it works. That is why you be drone now we are singing that. But obroni ba no be any business or ha na BT. Why? Because the obroni aside soon sumade no onim the laws of nature to get things aligned into what? In line with his purpose. They be me say example, me say me be say why na Abobuloshi market. Ena West Hills Mall. Emu wine na beka say wo dress akọ tena say wo kọ hwe ho do maba. Abobuloshi na beko ana say I mean, come in say Westers, I'm off to me spend the whole day not to want to photos. E mo here dey call Agbobuloshi market where say no.
Awakoto je ni.
Does it mean Agbobuloshi ho nye? Enye say ho nye o.
E wanna bibia wo.
But does it mean say Westers say ho nye? Debbie, but even Westers before you enter the environment, the structure, the branding, everything has been structured in a way to induce your sense of belonging, your sense of spending, your sense of luxury. So within that environment, you feel like I am a special person. So you need to actually what? Spend. The same thing about our hand, my own diano, no coquancha bed, obediano. Why?
While watching the biggest, my children, me mbadebeka say local birth loaf. Near one more hot no money you do not. Nina so be besi both fruit to kruya. Abusia say and that made you money me dede ni na Lord Ackkham etwa ne show no. O say ya kwapim say wa hoodin asa. Abusia wan kase nipa na wonam ho ye energy source o. Ubetumi akasa wo spirit source. Wo kodi na efemfa mo ho adan na hu se wo sebi. Na say mo bi koto abo etia 20,000 pounds.
Nkwatia.
Koto owo.
Kwatia.
Me ka me chiraw.
Owo no ko den. Obefi gozi isikama no.
Me ya say okoto owo no mo ka chen say nipa 2 pe na chi na ade na say. Police for ni soldier for.
Ana nipa na sa ade ka for na police for da.
I might think so because o dane ne ho a.
Me we I to enim de bia. We all said that we so na mobile consultation mo ka kira nsi enim ye kwaso.
Ya be ne den.
Utwa ho a no wa frɛ police ni de ogina ho twɛn ho. Ma ne nsai. You see, let me tell one thing. Sometimes we think say, let me be sincere. In Pempina no, people go into this path, and people come to it with frustration.
When your head is not sound,
there are
heart is sick.
Thank you. There are 4 people who look for God or who look for spiritual truths. 1, the distressed. 1, the curious. 2, the curious. 3, the diseased. The diseased. And I said the one looking for, let me put it, the one looking for knowledge. And 4, the one looking for money. Tinya what distress, disease ni baba distress ni mu. Ni aye den, oye curious, person who bibi keke, yesi bibi wa mbese mehwe ne wo ho.
Me ko frɛ obofo.
Ni otoso miensa, ni aye den, ohwe nimdeɛ. Ani etoso 9, ni ohwe sika. Sa nipa 9 wei, na ehwe nimdeɛ. Ehwe sunsum kwan. Ma mpempi na mo amota ehwe sunsum kwan ne pa. Distress for no, any sika for no, na aye den eta doso.
Knowledge ni di esua.
Knowledge for no kwan ne den esua.
Eche no ebeche.
Why? Because you see, people tend to think say, Matna sorry them, we are women to sorry them, Matna sorry them for 38 years. Sankabe ye. Say bata sorry them 30 years, yes. Now ye na say eneme fear ko hadia. Now was say me ko hanen kwa within 3 days. I was say minya. The question is, if you didn't get it over here for 38 years, I had 3 months na personya.
You are watching the biggest. Lord Ackkham, let me ask you this question. Ebi mu po mo nte downloads ase na say na me ka downloads obi say internet na me download you no po dey forget obi are all practices spirituality, okay? Practical obi betimi aka say me dey me nye theory, me dey me ye practical, and me dey me hwe book mu na me hwe me dey me ye practical. If somebody is saying this, how do we look at that person?
Mami Grace, where the men can't quechi, and the way the camera yefi. But I mean, so me books are matroni. It is say, I mean, so me practice mono, me practical, and I say, Yame who never show book, and I say, all kind book into Utia, and I may be someone say. Then I didn't so I say, and another morning, dear one friend, Jay. Then you be an Indiano. Yamada, I don't know what she won't be, and I will be a baby such a no, why then? Why enlighten on the truth within the universe? How would you save that for the future? If it is not through books, if it is not through giving teaching your children, if it is not to teaching your disciples for them to carry that knowledge on, then be an abaye. The book is only what the book is only an inanimate object carrying the same information that a human being will carry. In this situation, no nipa na nyadain any physically, but na sema na nyadain ewa. So what is wrong with it? Anyways,
the point is even that. How do you say that you don't do this, but you do practicals? And then we practicing.
On the most serious note, I think those statements, sometimes they are made to one way or the other seem superior. But obu onoma onim hwe eno so wo ho obu onoma enye so onim hwe se onim akenkan but hu bitumi sane ni esi ni so no ne ye den enante no kire no be no krampo no So you be no match to me then.
Of course.
Because and they actually we or china for baba into one chura to our befi. Into na na mabreso krampo no e be na akenkan achura nya den. Eni ho na ye ne den. Owa abofra betin na ase. E ba ne tima no aye den waka kire no. Wei. E ba ne tima no aye den waka kire disciples no. Se ne abre bia ohia betima aye den. Abo na aye den akai. Sada na ye den fa so ye den e ka aka ya de. To one chura krampo na enye den wo kwan bia ye den wo preserve the same knowledge na ye den. And at the same practice now, there's still other alternative means of preserving it. So if you don't write, you still write it on your mind. So you either write it in a book or write it in the what? In the mind of the mind. That's all. By me grace. But in spiritual science there, some members, 100 years from now, 50 years from now, my knowledge will still what? Be preserved. And people can still read from me. And what I know.
Now we see book at the end. Where
for books? Where is reserved for members, but who a special person? This is only for initiative and society. But a special person.
Maybe I will read this. I read Ankasa. Abusia, what I'm asking you now is that Mama o ade bi. E de be important ye betumi yi incrofo problems na ato nchen. Na yetumi a join force achieve. Edi abua country na ama president kura besi so na yes spiritual people na to nsafo dimirika obeko. What do you think we can do? Do you have any structures for this?
I think what you are saying now. The last time I came, I told you something about that 2 years ago. Maybe say I have an association. I was actually I'm saying me know the come some time back be. Me boss back could be where we wanted to have an association for mystical teachers and mystical men.
Yes.
Not just because already in the world traditional healers, any traditional councils, but something for those truly practicing the mystical path. No me teachers, no me to me impact ya inculcate a gloomy people. No, we don't have association or a fellowship for them. I think I even have some few people be a discuss here. 2 were my god brother and a sister who all went to India to become Swamis. And then 1 brother too who was also used to contact me some years back. And also the path ne dua, and also taking the path up. Wanted to have that type of association where we can just sit and deliberate on issues. The same thing is what India did. You think what we are seeing of Indian culture or the Hinduism today going worldwide? No, people didn't sit down. Yes. Yeah, we have something we call Arya Samad. Arya Samad was in India during the 1800s to the early 1900s. What did they do? It is still there till today. One of the major people of the Arya Samad was Swami Krishnananda. We have Yogananda and we have other Chidananda. These were all gurus in India. These people sat down. Almost from gurus nijina tanase. The guru from Shankarananda. Then in 1800s, 1900s, late 1800s, I called 1950s. Almost from tanase said, "Nah, our culture must be refined." Though the Indian culture was growing and spreading to the world. Now tanase. Now say no, our culture of practicing agya, mekan agya, and I say Havan, fire sacrifice, any puja in their system, no, in their culture, no. Over Vedas now, the only thing over there, Havan, fire sacrifice, and open and womb. No money worship songs. All money things, yeah, they worship no more. So the Southern said, no, let's find something to come in there. No more say, no more start say, gurus no. Etna say, and okay, let's take this hymn from here. Let's take this hymn from here. Let's take this hymn from here. Let's do this. And no more fabricate a whole system of practice. Into through them and ebenya and I call Indian temples are near kura yekura agni and I say yekura deepam yeka deepam as I like your bukura yekura deepam near the nam God no hono. This thing wasn't a part of them. It wasn't there. It was later introduced by certain gurus. Someone said that baby yen sum na yeden eduno e wo say yeden ye bie nyemem ye sesa nyemem na mo tena ase na mo ye even with the fire sacrifice no mo fabricate a whole new system which is more simplified than the old ones na they are complicated no to then make it easier for people to practice and no mo understand that and then after baby we are no. So the question is to think that there can be a way. There's a way, but the point is we must find like minds to be able to do that. And that system should be strict to the extent, say, we shouldn't be biased. We should be able to strain and regulate it to a way, say, those who qualify to be there will be the ones will be the ones to be in there. I think it's not only us. I know of one association in Switzerland where they also, we call them from witches, where the witches who are also qualified and have been trained, almost some association. He says this is how you regulate certain things within certain fraternities or
Can
societies.
you put spiritual people in Ghana together? Is it possible?
That would be my next point. Now the point is, can you put people together? You see, one thing about mysticism and spirituality, they say we have one problem with us: ego. Every mystical person is egoistic, especially once you start the spiritual path, you are more egoistic than anybody. Also, and one thing you need to know is that when you come to those on the path of the spiritists, not the spirituality people, but the spiritists, we from spiritualists. I don't call them spiritual, I call them spiritists because they deal with spirits. The one practicing spirituality should have been the one called what? The spiritualists. While the one dealing with spirits, gods, about some saints, from the spiritists. So the spiritists have one thing. You see, one way or the other, no, be automation, say, my very, very egoistic. Because you feel a bit of a cheer, or both by Tema, a home saw a who, Untio, because imagine some my home, number one, me young commande, me want to pay woman, I say, me want Yamaye, now be Janaka me say, Mania ABC. I told you 5 years ago, I took it upon myself, and I remember saying, we catch up before that, that was 2018, 2019. I did it, where I also had my own crew. Now I call from one shrine.
The quest of Akabulan.
Yeah, before I catch up some time back, yes. And I call from there trying to fine tune the practices. You go pure Techimai. The challenges we had over there, we had so many things because that is it. People are egoistic. All not about some Diano, why any for years, soon about Chileno, and then you also
the point is, so we are egoistic, and then part the Bema who egoistic na kosoro, say what to me I join the force, Namudi change, you can see be a bar, benefit you, be a naka better be kosoro.
What is true to a hungry man? Answer that question first.
And you ask them no.
Yes, or be accommodating and the Uncle here, no. Because Nipana or bills to ya, or Danka to ya. I feel now, Baba, last. I found out because on Johnny and Antoine or better. Until once it gets to that thing, you can't put me hold people so accountable because they also have desires and needs they must fulfill. And that one, wow, to me,
people have done it too. Now, India for the.
Yes, the Indians per se,
people have done it.
The Indians have more of a system which made it possible. Why? Because they have the ascetic system, the sannyasi system. That system is where udu baby, and also giving up family life, material life. Now focusing on only your spiritual development. The Vanaprashta. What I say, a system as a culture.
When you have been a certain system now, they've
done it for centuries.
And that's what I'm saying. People set it up.
That is it. But over here, we don't have the ascetic system. The ascetic system is not a standardized one.
And it cannot be done here.
It can be done, but do it. That's it. Doing it is one thing. Having people who accept it is another thing.
And sustaining it is also
another thing.
You are watching the biggest. Now saying the and you said they be at we say
you see, using the herbs and everything, I don't see it to be bad. The only thing is that when you begin to make it a god over yourself, because the herbs,
I'm not even saying it is bad. To me, I feel we can do bigger stuff when it comes to spirituality. And yet, I mean, those things are not things that I think we should do. I'm not saying we should throw them away.
Can I tell you where those problems are coming from? You see, this is what I realized in my practice. This is what I've realized. What I've realized, they say, most of the people who come to African or the African spirituality or the spiritual path, most of them are from Christianity. And these people are from a culture or a religious culture where the whole programming is about Obi na yeo, Oma me na yeo, Ofiefu na yeo, our harem be sunsum. So they live their religion thinking they are now awakened. This is where the issue comes in.
Seriously?
They live the Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, whatever religion they think they are living, thinking they are now awakened. Now coming into enlightenment, unfortunately, they live their religion, but the mentality there must be an evildoer, they don't leave it behind, they still take it into African spirituality. So they still live there, come into African spirituality, and they say, men down sorry na menya de menyeska, men down sorry na sika ba me bottom, men down sorry na spirit jama me sika, men fahara we yaba, menya we na we yaba. So you realize say along the line, these people have only changed their religion, but not their mentality. They've only changed their place of worship, but nothing has changed around them. So when it comes to these things, it always goes back to where the programming is coming from. As I say, it always comes back to where the program is coming from and where the desires are coming from and what is motivating those desires and the things they are looking for. So sometimes, it is more of the people who think they are awakened and they are not awakened, who are only having a new set of belief in place of the old belief, but still holding on to the same mindset that they had in the old belief, in the new belief. We are Christian. Me cite example achira. We are Christian. Christian ti ya na ya eye bonsam. Na djuma nkoso a eye bonsam na ye me. Okoto obi mu na eye bonsam. Now we fi Christosu mu, my awake, my enlightened. Waba na nananom so mu, se na ye ka nananom so mu. Na this same waba na nananom so mu. Oyi apaya na nananom ma misika. Oyi apaya bom ho ban fi matamfo ho. So the now the same prayer, but now you're not directing it to Jesus. You're not directing it to Abosom. The same person. So you realize that the same person will come to African spirituality. No practice here, no change in life. Now, brother wants to sign, no transformation, and they will be wondering, what have I done and what am I not doing right? The point is, the mentality is what must change first. Make myself say, who are the right mindset? Who are Christosumo? Who are Kremosumo? You make that place a paradise.
Exactly.
You see, and this is what people do not get.
It's all about yourself.
It is all about the mind. But the thing is that we've made it more of, if I should change my mind, I should rather change my religion. No, you change your religion doesn't mean that you are smart now. You can still be a fool, still being out of what? Out of Christianity.
Wash a polished shirt.
As I say, it's the same mentality.
You are watching the biggest and the largest. And they say, your friend is saying, Ghana spirituality. One thing you need
to know. I'll take this motivation from all those people who have also been it. I always go back to Japan. Japan took out Christianity from their country way back in 15th to the 16th century. Yeah, Christianity came into that country. One day, one general seized power, and then he said, "Some money and just and all lining up all the Christians in the land." No, that was how they were able to eliminate Christianity and then maintain Shintoism till today. The same thing happened too with China along their line. Before the Cultural Revolution of the 1970s, with General Mao. So realize say, over Europe also during the Renaissance. The Renaissance period was when they were having a renewal of thoughts, where Eastern thoughts of the Arabic or the Arabian Sufi thoughts were now coming back to the Arabian thoughts and the Greek thoughts of the Greek thinkers like Plato, Pythagoras, Socrates, Antelos, all those great thinkers, ever back to Europe, which has been dominated by Christianity. That's the Roman Empire with their Christianity over them. They also made the same challenges. But one thing you need to know is say, in the wake of every age with realization, it comes with two things. We always speak of the age of Aquarius, but what we fail to understand is that the age of Aquarius works with something. The age of Aquarius is ruled by two planets. And these two planets are what? Are Uranus and then Saturn. For information, the day of Saturn, which is Saturday, Saturday is under the influence of what? Of Aquarius too. So wherever there is Aquarius, there is Saturn. Wherever there is Aquarius, there is revolution. So anytime revolution is coming, it comes with two things, both the positive pole and the negative pole. When you go into Hinduism speaks of this age as the age of Kali, or the age of confusion, the age of war, the age of strife. So you realize that the age of Aquarian and Aquarian age, that same age, so aside say promising enlightenment, a promising knowledge, a promising realization, a promising a leap in what? In the growth of humanity, it's also on the negative side promises what? Abundance of ignorance, abundance of wars, abundance of suffering. So anytime we talk about Aquarian age, you can't the positive side and the negative side. No, they work together.
Half knowledge.
Yes, they work together. Now, Europe now, whenever any realization is coming, realization bar, and the problem be bar. Now, problem about identify problem at the banner say, we are people who come out of that thing or who are evolved through that thing with this. One, we have those who become problems for themselves. Two, there are those who become problems for themselves and others. Three, there are those who become problems for others but not themselves. Why do I say this? those who become problem for themselves are those who, through the awakening, they are now confused. Because you're trying to say Bible name, but he is so confused that only you be able to guide him. Say, okay, they say Bible name, Quran name, religion name, mate, but there's no tangible person inside. There's no teacher, no guide to then lead them on. So now they are not left in a vacuum. Why confused? So that realize that person now loses what? Purpose in life, loses focus in life. Such people are there. That population is there. And those who are becoming problems for others, they are the ones who haven't yet fully enlightened. But because of Nimdebi, they've now become teachers, teaching others in the ignorance that they have.
The danger.
And they are the dangerous ones. Why? Because who no kwari ni wiye. But the kwari na who wiye no, or for say me who no kwari be fit baby ame now in their not so fully flourished knowledge, no. I feel the no the edge one way the more kwan no. So now that's what the master Yeshua will say. A blind leading the blind, they will all fall into a ditch. And then we have those who become a problem for themselves and others. They also fall into the same category. But the only thing they said, those people know, in as much as I said they are destroying others, they are also destroying themselves. I can boldly tell you, remember Snibity, yeah? One of our brothers saw me, he's not a brother. Otie Obi, me body, Otie Obi on social media. We are in 2024. Otie and way back in 2020, 2021. Say there are herbs that can open the third eye.
Hey, I said
I will radio Sunni TV so kasaya na show no say weed, Indian hemp, ganja, but sometimes what me be a third eye. This guy was in level 200 UCC. Boy, you sorry so could be in the third eye fire. Now this boy has been mentally unsound. In fact, so about that basis or the next year sorry Sunni bibiara. No. So that, see, that's not only the problem. Because make problems which has come out of this situation.
You can't even go there.
You will be a coffee help a war and maybe say, what is so when you know I want to call what dream. Yes. Anyway, parasites in their war. Now Nipania says is here. You see, things are happening. So these are the people who become a problem to themselves because those people also know as I saw the amount for also yebi.
Oh yebi
now I'm saying this same situation make I think this one was very popular. Maybe I mentioned video what TikTok that show. This awakening messages CBI was it New Zealand or UK move back measure. This lady gather amount for say the end is near and they have to actually transcend. And not come in a good demo. Amount from where Juma was cow. Come in she was just who was she? She was just a bartender. And not come one more professors, one Mosika, one Juma. Educate you almost say the new transcendence nearby no the old world is so impure so they must transcend and the new this eclipse here it is there to usher in the new and enlightened souls from the old souls and these people jam majuma nyina se so musika nyina no de
na hakura bi asi ha
and lock you nyina se dan ba kum and oni omo ye den ehwem and you know she told them say silver water is the what? Is the water or the drink that they must take? That's the drink that will purify you, which is giving you negative ions, which can then make you lighter and your soul translates. And on your musha demu, and away yare men hospital. What you mean if you bush ho? And no more silver water or the silver powder. Emma no. Only yamia domuni yesi. Karma works very best when it comes to such issues like this stupidity. I don't know yare first before the name my yare would that. But na enye severe senede no ono yare ye oda ho no ono no usu ka chane members ni se fa no hospital almost say philosophy su chere se maye dey efa unko so in that state you are under distress so you're not thinking straight near the that
ho we ka video mo so
we feed you with the same mindset so now you the other day mu ana ye fa silver powder na dey gu nsuom na ye dey inject no na ye dey wo no
I said dey o kire ye
me say oye fita ma na ye say blue because of the silver. So on silver no man the body nyina be e say blue e da dem ho finally osanso ye den ewu ho because she was suffering from cancer owu wi answer the police fu nya be dey could you imagine say all this one na video omo asan ye we nya no sanso twa because the mother is transcending to heaven and should be taking them along so omo man no say it is a time to go, so that is how she will live.
Any man dey say sinkrofo bi mo kuku e bi no mo wura fi America bi si ye.
Yes.
O create a whole village. Meaning where you people want to go.
So the point is that is when those who destroy themselves and destroy others. I have those who are ebi na make can say or team message now on one father na why then what say no. So you realize say when it comes to awakening, every awakening age and the three problems there, those who destroy others, those who destroy themselves, and those who destroy themselves and others at the same time.
And those who actually are not mentally stable.
And that is true.
Multiple disorders. The who ni ama na you almost said the omu
or enlightened.
Or enlightened. Only pani what problem. Easy.
So you see, so this path is a very dicey thing. And I always say, just being able to know, say, the Bible is not authentic is not enough. You must also have.
Now, this say, be munso, I want to doors munso. Omo di omo here ina be good spirituality be munso.
Because you do one thing, spirituality is meant to be a way. Say, once you become spiritual, religion is a prison. Listen, see, message is not in a canon. This is where the problem is coming from. See, words are spells, and how you fabricate your words in the classical arts, we have something we call rhetorics. Rhetorics goes with logic. How you fabricate your words determines how a person can act. Let me give you two things right now. Maybe cite example. I did two. You find say Palestinian and Israel for kontokwa. So these two countries here kontokwa. Maybe presented assembly or shadie. Two soldiers say whoa, one from Israel, one from Palestine. But me presented net rhetorics near the etienne. There is it. Okay. A terrorist, a bloody terrorist, has been killed. A bloody Palestinian terrorist has been killed. And a second one, I'm reporting Israel in the American. A loving father, a lovely father of two, has been what? Has been killed in cold blood. Here na obenya tinkamano.
Killed in cold blood, yeah.
But for unknown to you, no, omu to niya soldiers somewhere, omu defend your country.
No,
but see how, as a news reporter, I reported the news. What say now? Who ni ma seven more?
I had to say Jesus ni Judas.
Who ni ma seven more? But when you think a lovely father of four has been killed in cold blood. Or how many think
the same statement.
But when you now call war, and no more as a soldier who call war so could defend your country to where the. But see, one has been what has been portrayed in a way I think I don't oh nyebi. Another way of rhetorics. Minu janipem, how rhetorics work. No one say rhetorics is a part of our lives. Minu janipem no maka asembi. Hwase ma beka no. Janipem be say meje ebia o iPad na ekura we starting. Mami, wo efo. Me hwe pa de wakoma pa. Ukura de ade be ma. Uyo bia otimu nya den. Say na oti pa yankopan shira. Na osrese. Nipa mu maka abo wabodin ama nipa nyina ya den believe because of Aquarius amena media ma ma raise wo image be ya den e wo nipa nanim me wi na me atua so umfa iPad in cheme
so wadwen wo hyehyɛ adwuma
ba na me iPad ya ma bisa iPad u fan cheme now I've put you in a place where udinaya image na wa building the confidence people na build around you na be den we Lucy oje mu so wa nipa bi so ma ya den magiko how would you do it?
How would you do it in asem?
This is how powerful rhetorics are. Sometimes we put words across, we don't even know how powerful the words are. Something like, connect with the universe. When connecting with the universe, you have everything within you. You can command things anyhow you want, and everything will happen for you when you want it, how you want it. Nobody can do anything to you. Religion is slavery. Live religion. But I can tell you, in spirituality, everything you want, you have it. Once you put your mind there, you have it. I can boldly tell you, I can tell you, and I can assure you that it's actually going to happen. Oh, the better to home. Oh, the assurance I had at home. What's on there, Nipano? You see, you're putting so many things in place to make you look like say, me buy and then watch na me den. So I find Nipane ba no enya, no watch na pa so ye den ebo odin bone. Wo so won ti ase ne ti obo odin bone. No, how you presented yourself is the reason why that person now hates you.